Wow. All I can say is Boker nailed it with this P51 Mustang Damascus knife. If you saw my unboxing the other day, you'll notice that I was really speechless when I opened the box. And that's why I do the unboxings like I do, because I want to kind of capture my true thought on a knife that I didn't even know existed. So when Gil from Wild About Sporting Goods sent this over to me, quick plug to him, you guys know the drill, and I will put a link down below. All he told me was, hey, I have a Boker that I'm shipping off to you. And then a few minutes later, I got, a FedEx email, hey, a box is shipped to you, blah, blah, all that stuff. So I was like, okay, cool, thanks, man. And I had no idea what to expect. So it comes with this Cordura, padded zippered pouch, along with a box. And here is the actual part number, if you can read that or see it. And I'll put a link to Gil's website down below as well. This is an incredible historic piece of cutlery, if you will. And so you can see it looks kind of reminiscent of a fighter plane. It's got the red, white, and blue motif. But really the shining star here is, and we're just going to zoom right in, is the 80-layer Chad Nichols Damascus blade made out of steel from a recovered P51 Mustang fighter plane. Now there is a number down here, 0358. So I'm guessing that is a serial number because this is probably a limited run. I could not find how many they were making in all, but this thing is completely badass. So all of you plane junkies out there, my Air Force, former Air Force retired vets, all of you guys, this might be something you want to add to your collection. It's great. It's an awesome knife that I've gotten to handle and hang out with. And we'll go through the specs here in a few minutes. But wow, it works great in the pocket. I know from experience, these ball bearing type clips that Todd Begg made famous work amazingly well. This is your quote unquote standard titanium frame lock. Okay, so there's no fancy mechanisms or engineering involved or anything like that. It's just a standard frame lock running on bearings, but with historic steel. Now I've done some other Bokers where they've done steel from tank guns and did the Leopard line of Bokers. And I had a couple of those. I gave one away because Gil and his guys were so generous to actually give me one to give away. What's cool about the fighter plane, these were from the 1940s to 48, I think is when they were in the air. It was about 15,000 of them from what I understand. What was cool, I think it was a Mercedes or a Rolls-Royce engine propeller plane. But what I didn't know until I was doing this video and reading up on them is they had actually 6 50 cal machine guns loaded under the wings or mounted under the wings, 3 on either side. And they could carry, I think it was, I didn't write that down, 6 to 9 different bombs/missiles. Pretty cool. They dominated the skies back then in the 40s, and it's pretty epic, truly, to have some of that history here in my hand and in my pocket, if I were to carry this. And in everything I've read, Boker wants you to carry it. Use it loud and proud as an EDC knife. I mean, it's a great size. It is 4¼ close, 7.5 inches overall, with a 3.29-inch blade as I measure it. I mean, do you need much more than that? Not really. And it feels great in my hand. It's thin, disappears in the pocket. Action's really good. It's a little thick behind the edge at 0.025. 0.135 blade thickness. Overall thickness is just 0.417. It's very slim and slender. It runs on bearings and weighs in at 3.8 ounces. I just think it's badass. And the price, I think, is pretty phenomenal. All right, list price on the Boker website is $552. You can get it from Gil for just $442. Use my promo code and you get 10% off of that. You can do the math. It's $400 for a piece of history. For any of you Air Force flyboys, I don't know. If you're already into knives and you used to be a fighter pilot, this is the knife for you. Let me just tell you that. You need to rush over. You need to click on the link below and hit up Gil or call him at the number that I put on his business card. Here it is next to the Spartaco Delica. And you need to get this one. Because, yeah, for the price, for the history behind it, if you were in the Air Force, if you were in the military, if you fly planes commercially, this is the knife for you. That's the Kubi. How about the Sharpie? If you can't tell, I really like this knife. How about the VC Edge interface? 3.6-inch blade. So a little bit bigger. And, but equally thin. Way lighter, of course. But yeah, this is just a thin knife. If we put it up next to the Delica, very similar in nature. Very Chris Reeve knives, Sebenza-ish, thin, right? Not like what Dirk normally carries, a Hellraiser, which is much thicker, not overbuilt crazy or anything. North Arm Skaha, significantly thicker. But here it is next to this. I mean, very similar in size to the Skaha. Now, granted, this is handmade custom for a little bit less money than this. These were like $3 or $325, something like that when Alex and I had them made. But this is a Damasteel blade made by Chad Nichols. And it's historic steel. I personally don't have a problem with a $400 or $500 price tag for this thing. I just don't. The thumb hole is reminiscent of the cockpit in the plane. Okay, they did that on purpose. This whole thing screams P51. I'm not even a pilot guy. And I opened it up and I was just like, wow. I think everybody kind of knows where this comes from and what it's all about without even knowing. I don't know. I don't normally gush over knives like this, but this one is just, it speaks to me. I have some friends that are pilots and friends that were in the Air Force. And so maybe that's why I'm more connected to it. But let me know your thoughts. I would love to hear it. I'll put a link to my Boker playlist over here in the corner as well. And there is description or a link to Wild About Sporting Goods website down below. You can just search up the Boker and it will come up with this guy. And they have some others. They have more than just this one. So reach out. I don't know how many they have, and I don't know how many they're making. But I'm not sure how you can go wrong with this one. This one's going to be a tough one to ship back to him. But I've got some other things I'm looking to purchase even though I'm supposed to not be buying right now, but you know how it goes. It's a crazy hobby that we're in. Thanks a lot, everyone.